This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Wednesday, Ceviche Wednesday, September 4th, and today's pod is the best one yet. This is a TBOY.
The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today.
Jack, the Wall Street scorecard. What happened to stocks yesterday, man?
The S&P 500 fell by 2% yesterday on the first day back from Labor Day.
Investors, they forgot they're not on vacation anymore. The worst.
I think they realize they're not on vacation. We're bummed about it.
But this show is still the best one we've ever done. So, Jack, 3 stories for today's T-Boy. What do we got on the pod?
For our first story, we're looking at a Japanese startup called Exit that has a wild business model.
This is crazy.
They will quit your job for you.
Because there's big money in every exit, and Jack and I call it the hidden severance.
For our second story, we're looking at Dick's Sporting Goods. This is one of the top stocks of the last 5 years. It's up over 600%.
But the secret to Dick's surge is actually a Little League sports app.
And our third and final story is about New York City. It just hit an expensive milestone. You ready for this?
Hit me, Jack.
The average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City is $4,500.
$4,500 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, no kitchen apartment, Jack.
We contrast New York's soaring rent to Austin's falling rent.
It's a tale of 2 cities, and Jack and I will tell you how.
It's a tale of 2 cities, literally, isn't it?
Yeah, still, literally, it's 2 cities.
But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories.
Fantastic mix of stories for Ceviche Wednesday, Jack.
If you dropped your kid off at a quad last week, or if you went to campus yourself as a freshman, did you notice something fancy?
Did you notice the new dormitory trend, besties?
Designers.
Yeah.
Dorm designers.
Get this, Yetis. Interior designers for dorm rooms are taking over America's campuses.
Apparently, college sophomores aren't hitting up Bed Bath & Beyond with that 20% off coupon they found in the newspaper.
No, apparently they're working with Nate Berkus on a dorm room blueprint, Jack.
According to the New York Times, families are dropping $8,000 to $10,000 on dorm room design firms.
Well, Jack, that 100 square foot living space, that is a blank canvas if your roommate is on board.
Again, we're not talking about IKEA hangers, lava lamps, and Pearl Jam posters.
We're talking dorm room designers. They add monogrammed pillows. They get custom imported rugs.
They're going very fancy and very high end, even though they're only there for 2 semesters.
Oh, and Jack, we should tell the Yetis, what's the #1 dorm suggestion from a dorm room interior designer?
Sconces.
Yeah, wall sconces. That's their big suggestion, actually.
Because nothing kills a vibe like an overhead fluorescent light.
Yetis, these dorm designers, they even have a budget for coffee table books.
Okay, full disclosure, Nick and I were freshman year roommates. We didn't have a coffee table because there wasn't room for a coffee table.
No, we had room for the 2 beds and actually, we left through the window. Remember, we would exit through the window sometimes.
It was like 12 square feet. Here's what we did. Every day, we took all the stuff off our bed and put it on the floor so we could go to sleep.
That's true.
Then when we woke up,
right,
we took all the stuff off the floor and put it back on our bed.
It was brilliant. We created space out of nowhere, Jack.
I don't know if brilliant's the word I used to describe it.
Well, Yetis, Jack and I also had a whole set of Seinfeld DVDs,
which we used as our coffee table.
So students, welcome back from the summer off. Enjoy your first semester.
If you're lucky enough to have a designer dorm, invite us over.
And don't forget to use the coaster.
Yeah, because that's reclaimed pie.
Oh, yeah. That's pie. You don't want to leave a drink on it. Mom! Jack, let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, one of the fastest growing startups in Japan right now is Exit, a quitting concierge.
Exit quits your job for you and makes sure you get severance. Because when you quit your job, there's still money on the table.
Hidden severance. But Jack, is there any feeling more awkward, more strange, more bizarre than when you quit your job and you got to tell your boss?
I've only quit a few times, and I've been really stressed about going in there and letting them know I'm leaving.
It's kind of like you've been cheating on them. You show up and you're like, yeah, I'm seeing someone else, and it's been going on for a few weeks now with those interviews.
True, because when you quit, chances are you probably got something else you're going to.
You kind of been faking the smiles at work the last couple weeks. But Yetis, in Japan, a culture that avoids confrontation, quitting your job is even more stressful.
So last year, a startup was launched there called Exit. Exit will quit your job for you for a small fee.
Jack and I actually mentioned it on the intro of a pod like in one episode a year ago. We were curious.
Well, 1 year later, Exit isn't just an intro story. It's a full pod story now because Exit has enjoyed hockey stick customer growth.
Exit is enjoying 10,000 clients in their roster with a multi-million-dollar business to go with it.
Exit even launched a messaging app, which is for people who just need like a pep talk. You can text this messaging app and be like, I'm telling you, man, I gotta leave. I'm just nervous.
What do I do? Well, they're now helping 2,000 quitters every month through their Help Exit app.
And this has spawned a new industry.
Yeah, it has, Jack.
Resignation agents.
Resignation agents, experts at exiting, gurus of corporate goodbyes. Jack, can we say farewell felicitators? Does that work? I meant facilitators, but I think you know what I was going for there, Jack. Yetis, these quitting concierges, they even have ads all over the Tokyo subways right now, according to the Wall Street Journal.
The message is for people who are at their job, they hate their job, but they're too afraid to quit. And here's what the message says on those subway ads. We quit for you.
Jack, I got one more. You ready? A sayonara service. You see, it's Japanese for goodbye.
Well, somebody took a trip to Tokyo, didn't they?
But Yetis, here's what Jack and I found fascinating about this story. Currently, this industry only exists in Japan, but the need for this industry is actually universal.
But first, let's explain how a quitting call from a resignation agency actually goes down in practice.
Yeah, because once you understand how the quitting call works, then you can see how it's actually universal.
First, your resignation agent deals with the humane part. They handle the awkwardness of confronting the boss with the news.
Look, Kara is leaving. There's nothing you can do about it. She's already made up her mind.
Then the resignation agent deals with the logistics, like how's the ending going to actually happen?
Kara's giving 2 weeks notice. This is the last day. No more projects after tomorrow.
Let us know how she should return her laptop.
But Jack and I think the third part of the quitting concierge is actually the most interesting.
That's when the resignation agent handles the negotiation. Because if Kara is quitting, Kara has leverage.
And Exit can then negotiate on Kara's behalf in a way that maybe she didn't feel totally comfortable doing, right, Jack?
Maybe their agent says, you know, Kara is open to staying if a considerable raise is included in the package.
Cough, cough, $20,000, and she'll sign on the bottom line.
So a quitting service isn't just handling the cultural and logistical awkwardness.
Right.
They also are acting as the quitter's advocate.
Yeah, they are the agent for the quitter. And the more you think about it, the more maybe you're like, I kind of wish I had an agent during that awkward quitting moment.
There's something bigger here, and that's why we think exit experts may be coming to the United States soon.
Yetis, you may think a quitting concierge is bizarre, but you may be using one after your next job. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies who are anyone quitting a company?
It's the hidden severance. When you quit, there's still cash to be had.
Yetis, so much focus of quitting, resigning, leaving, it's on the qualitative. How to handle the situation emotionally.
What gets lost is the quantitative. What gets lost is considering how much you're still owed by your employer.
Jack and I have noticed that many people quit without realizing they left money on the table as they exited their boss's office.
For example, if you're enjoying company-paid health insurance, that insurance is valid through the end of your final calendar month.
And that's why Jack and I say it's good to quit on the first of the month, because then you get a whole month of free health insurance.
If you quit on September 1st, that insurance is still valid through September 30th.
Or another one, Jack, if you leave with unused PTO, you're entitled to get that PTO even if you leave the company.
You're entitled to a final paycheck for the cash value of your unused paid time off.
Now, there might be other financial perks to quitting that vary by city and state, but employees have rights even if they quit a company.
You also have to consider the non-compete clause or the non-disclosure agreement. Those might be negotiable too.
So, besties, add it all up, and if a worker forgets or doesn't know about the benefits, their employer could forget to tell them too.
So the exit advocate, it's actually a worthwhile investment if you get some of those financial returns.
Most jobs, they actually have a hidden severance.
When you quit, there's still cash to be had.
For our second story, the low-key MVP of Wall Street right now, it's Dick's Sporting Goods.
And the key to Dick's success, they found the digital version of sponsoring your local Little League team.
Jack.
What are you sighing about?
God, this is just tough to say. Get your knee pads, man. Because the Sports Authority is bankrupt.
Modell's is no Dells.
Even Larry's local lacrosse store is no more, my friend.
Rest in peace, Larry's. I love local sporting goods stores.
But Yetis, despite all of that pain across the retail sports landscape, Dick's Sporting Goods is thriving right now.
Dick's Sporting Goods stock doubled in the past year. And get this, in the last 5 years, Dick's stock is up 600%.
Yetis, Dick's Sporting Goods is worth $20 billion. That's 3 lifts. And is about to hit 900 stores. Jack, the context, please.
That's twice as many locations as Shake Shack has.
Yetis, this sports store chain is sprinting like a young Emmitt Smith with Jerome Bettis' strength.
Wow, somebody looked up ChatGPT football.
I didn't. I swear I didn't.
Now, we got to say, the pandemic helped Dick's rise.
It did, because Yetis, you were bored at home, so you bought a new batting cage for the backyard. Not too shabby.
But Dick's Sporting Goods hasn't suffered a post-pandemic come down like so many other pandemic winners have.
And that's a good point, Jack. It is not. In fact, back in March, we covered Dick's Sporting Goods' brand new product.
It was a new store concept called House of Sports.
Right.
Basically, a stadium-sized megastore where you could try out all the equipment before buying it.
It had fields, batting cages, driving ranges, rock climbing walls, all inside a single retail store.
They had a full-size soccer field where you could try out the cleats and kick the ball into the goal before purchasing those cleats.
But as wild as that giant new concept of a store really is, that's not the real reason Dick's Sporting Goods is up 600% in the last 5 years, is it, Jack?
The real reason for Dick's success is 2 acquisitions they made almost 10 years ago that you didn't even know about.
Now, Yetis, when Sports Authority went bankrupt, Dick's Sporting Goods acquired their list of loyalty members.
29 million Sports Authority loyalty members. They were dribblers in distress.
Yeah, they were.
They were sad that their local sporting goods store had shut down.
But then, boom, Dick's was a knight in shining Under Armour swooping in there.
They emailed all 29 million loyalty members letters of condolence.
Yeah, Dick's even offered their rivals' loyalty customers a 20% off discount on their first Dick's purchase.
Classy move, Dick's. Classy move.
It's a very classy move. I like it, Jack.
It's the digital marketing equivalent of a bouquet of flowers.
But the bigger move that Dick's made back in 2016 was actually a tech move.
Dick's acquired Game Changer,
Yes.
a very unique sports app.
Yeah, Dick's acquired the SportsCenter app for kids, and that changed everything.
It changed the game. I mean, why didn't you just say change the game?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm just proud of my Jerome Bettis comment, Jack. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Dick's Sporting Goods?
Dick's found a way to scale hometown sponsorship.
Yetis, youth sports are driven by volunteer parents, a whole lot of Gatorade, and local sponsorships.
Remember your youth Little League baseball field? The entire outfield wall was covered in signs which were sponsored by local businesses.
Well, we noticed that Dick's achieved that kind of hometown status, and they did it with their Game Changer app.
Game Changer is a youth sports app used by 2 million teams to keep scores, to stream the games on the phone, and to calculate the players' stats.
What Jack's saying is that Game Changer is like SportsCenter, but instead of the LA Lakers, it's for your Little League.
It has 5 million unique users. Parents are checking Game Changer to see the power rankings for the Long Island Amateur Hockey League.
Right.
And the kids are checking Game Changer to see who has the most points in the league.
And then parents express their love of the app by purchasing more stuff from the company that powers it. And that company is Dick's.
Dick's CEO said last quarter that loyalty members who also use Game Changer
Yes, Jack?
purchase twice as much stuff from Dick's as just regular loyalty members.
So how did Dick's become the hometown store for millions of Americans?
By acquiring Game Changer, Dick's captured the goodwill of youth sports and scaled it.
Hey, Yetis, if you're a bestie, take a sec and hit that subscribe button.
And like this video while you're at it. If you leave a comment, by the way, we'll read it.
For our third and final story, New York City just hit a very expensive milestone. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in New York is $4,500.
So we're contrasting New York's soaring rent to Austin's falling rent.
In a Dickensian way.
It's a tale of two cities. Literally.
Yetis, everywhere you look, housing unaffordability. It's in the headlines.
Housing is unaffordable. It's according to every news source out there right now.
Even just yesterday, Jack and I were preparing for this show. The Financial Times discovered that housing is the number one issue across the 38 developed economies.
Half of the developed world is dissatisfied with housing right now because it is unaffordable.
Now, in the United States, overall, rent soared between 2021 and 2022. Remember it, Jack?
Rent increases was the main driver of inflation in this country.
And now, overall, rent increases have slowed in the U.S. since then, but rent is still up 21% in just the last 5 years.
But Nick and I just found an interesting tale of two cities.
Yes, we did.
Rents are rising in New York City, but falling in Austin, Texas.
So Jack and I jumped in TBOY style
to find out why.
Yes, we did. Now, Jack, let's kick things off in the old 212. What's going on in New York City with the rent prices these days?
We lived in New York City for 5 years.
Yeah, we did.
It is an awesome city.
Fantastic.
If you have some money.
That's a good point.
It's a really tough city if you don't have money.
Because Yetis, the median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in New York City is now $4,500 a month.
We have to say that again. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in New York City is $4,500 a month.
That's $54,000 a year. And that's just the average rent. Like, that's not even for like a one-bedroom in the West Village between like the Equinox Gym and the Lartuzzi restaurant.
What's that going for? $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month?
It's probably $7,000. It's a walk-up, and your super will never help fix your toilet that's constantly clogged.
Yet it's a one-bedroom apartment, nearly $5,000 a month. Based on standard financial advice, to afford an apartment that expensive, you need a salary of $250,000.
And the city that never sleeps because it's thinking about the rent, which is up 13% in just the past year.
That is wild. New York City, it's the most expensive city on record rent-wise. But how about Austin, Texas? What's happening down there?
So Austin, Texas has the new nickname Silicon Hills because so many tech companies moved there during the pandemic. Rents popped.
Rents popped because so many tech companies set up shop in Austin during the pandemic.
If you were trying to get a brisket over at Franklin Barbecue, you would to call ahead by 6 days and then stake out a place in line the week before.
But get this, it's now 2024 and rent in the city of Austin is down 6% compared to last year.
That's right. Rent is actually falling in Austin, Texas. What is going on there, Jack?
Why is rent soaring in New York City, but falling in Austin, Texas?
What is going on here yet is Jack and I, we grabbed some pizza and we grabbed some barbecue and we came up with the takeaway. So Jack, what's the takeaway for all our buddies who are everyone in America?
In politics, they say it's all about the economy. But in economics, it's all about new housing.
Now, yeah, it is easy to guess why rents are up in New York and why they're down in Austin. It's the new housing. That's what it is.
In 2023, Austin built more new housing units per capita than any large American city.
On the other hand, over in New York, we were at the bottom, Jack. We're pretty close to the bottom.
New York City built 1/5 as many new units as Austin did per capita last year.
Austin, they got lower construction costs, more land, less red tape. On the other hand, if you want to build a new apartment in New York City, you can't do it if it involves moving a pigeon nest, Jack. There's some regulation on that.
In Austin, it's easy to build new buildings. In New York, it's very hard.
Well, Jack and I have said the key solution to our housing problems before. It's build, baby, build.
Building more apartment buildings is how you keep a city relatively affordable.
It's not rent controls, it's not caps on rent increases, and it's not assistance for first-time home builders. It's build, baby, build.
In politics, they say it's all about the economy. But in economics, it's all about new housing.
Jack, can you whip up the takeaways for us for Ceviche Wednesday?
Exit is a new startup that will handle the awkward quitting conversation and they'll negotiate your exit.
It's a quitting concierge, and they're going after the hidden severance. When you quit, there is still cash to be had.
For our second story, it's Dick's. They're more valuable than ever, with 900 stores powering $1 billion in annual profit.
But by acquiring the Game Changer app, Dick's scaled the local sports sponsorship.
And our third and final story is New York City. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment rose 13% to $4,500. Meanwhile, in Austin, rents are falling.
Because the only way to keep high-demand cities somewhat affordable is to build, baby, build.
But Yetis, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, Volkswagen is reportedly going to close a factory in its home country of Germany for the first time ever.
Volkswagen's 87 years old, and they've never closed one of their German factories before.
Gesundheit, Jack. Can you repeat that again? They never done it.
While profits are down, the EV transition is not working out so great for them. So VW is willing to go there.
Yeah, they're expected to announce the news today, setting up a huge fight with a labor union.
Second, MapMyFitness, the app for tracking your bike ride and your run, is getting acquired by Outdoor Magazine.
Now, the interesting detail here, MapMyFitness was actually acquired by Under Armour back in 2013.
But unlike Dick's, Under Armour hasn't turned their ownership of this sports app into sales.
So Under Armour is selling it back to the guy they bought it from 11 years ago.
And finally, Adele, the great British singer, just did the opposite of quiet quitting. She is loudly quitting.
Yeah, Adele is currently doing a musical residency with concerts in Europe and Vegas, and she just made a big announcement at one of the shows.
She's got 10 shows left. After that 10th show, we're not going to see her for, and I quote, a long time.
Adele is apparently rolling in a deep vacation. She may not make new music for years.
She's not chasing pavements anymore.
No.
She's chasing some time off.
And we may need to write a song about Adele, Jack. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one whipped up by Jeff and Lori Behrens from lovely Dover, Massachusetts, just outside Boston.
You may be still around a campfire roasting some s'mores right now.
Pretty simple recipe. You got to have the chocolate Hershey's, graham cracker, TBD, and marshmallow. A lot of options out there.
I always put peanut butter in there. That's my secret ingredient. The fourth ingredient.
It's called the Smextra. But the recipe for s'mores goes back almost 100 years, right, Jack?
In 1927, the Girl Scouts Handbook published a recipe for s'mores.
Yes.
It was actually troop leader Loretta Scott Crew who founded it.
Now, the s'mores recipe goes back 100 years to the Girl Scouts, but the wildest part about s'mores is actually the financials.
Because the marshmallow industry would be nothing without s'mores.
Yeah, it turns out Americans buy 90 million pounds of marshmallows every single year.
And half of those marshmallows are used specifically for s'mores.
That's right. 1 out of every 2 marshmallows in America ends up sandwiched between chocolate and a graham cracker, and in Jack's case, some Skippy's peanut butter.
When the Girl Scouts invented the s'more, they doubled the marshmallow industry.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. Yetis, you look fantastic for Ceviche Wednesday. If you haven't yet, follow us at TBOY Pod, because Jack and I, we got our videos from the show every day. We whip them up on Instagram for you.
Every day, Nick says you look fantastic, Jack. You can actually see it at TBOY Pod.
Jack, you're inviting a correction to the show, I think, potentially, but I will defend you to the end. He does look fantastic.
You're my source, dude.
Yeah.
So you better be right.
It's not a subjective observation. It is a verifiable fact.
Hit us up at TBOY Pod, and Nick and I will see you tomorrow.
Can't wait. And before we go, a shout out to Nori, a legendary Yeti in Presidio Heights. Jack, I walked by her the other day. She gave a big hello to you. I told her I'd let you know.
Happy birthday to Peter McCall, a great T-boy, also living in San Francisco. I had dinner with this guy once.
Yeah, Jack.
He's got a great handshake.
Big Petey style. And Aurora Kirchner in Majestic Beach, New York, has got her first day of pre-K. Aurora, you got this. Bring the crayons.
Happy birthday to Billy Kuchner, Aurora's dad, who's turning 32.
Not too shabby. And John Liu in Mountain View, California, is celebrating a birthday in Maui with his girlfriend. Not too shabby.
Happy 4 years together to Shruti and Giri in New York City, who are on their 4th anniversary and just bought a new home.
Congratulations, guys. And Dominic and Sophia Pichetti are new parents with a baby daughter, Olive, who was born on August 23rd. Dominic's birthday is today, by the way.
Nice.
Nice.
And congratulations to Ava Perez in Verona, Wisconsin. just outside Madison, who is starting her sophomore year at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
And Kevin and Corinne's in San Diego, California are enjoying a baby moon, hanging out, just the two of them, in Hawaii.
Just outside California. Wait a minute. That's way outside.
And David Ludden, a happy 50th birthday over in Glenview, Illinois.
This is the best girl dad to 3 girls who he's converted to Yetis, by the way.
And he's crushing it on the Chicago Board of Options Exchange. Jack, I think Dave Ludden is in the money.
And to anyone else who's celebrating something today, make it a TBOY.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. Nick and I both own ETFs of the S&P 500, and Nick owns stock of Shake Shack. So when people say sayonara suckers, they're speaking Japanese?
Suckers is Japanese for people you don't like.